halls and sports events to be allowed to open with the SOPs. They will have to announce them. The Minister of Education and the ones of Culture, they will have to announce the details. Stadiums, are you going to have full stadium? Are you going? They will give you the details. Number 3, pre-primary, primary and secondary schools will be opened for learners starting with the 10th of January 2021. The Minister of Education and Sports and the Minister of Health to work out applicable SOPs and communicate them. 4, the performing arts, concerts, bars, and discos will be open 2 weeks after the opening of the schools and with SOPs directed by the Minister of Health. So the Abamabara, about concerts and about EMB, their activity will start 2 weeks after the opening of schools. Because we want to first finish with the opening of schools, and then we deal with these other groups. Number 5, curfew will be lifted for everybody at the time of opening for the performing arts, but not for the borders. So after the schools have opened, 2 weeks, performing arts start functioning, operating. That's when we end the curfew. That's when we end the curfew. For everybody except borders. Borders banange mutusonye ebyama bingi songa za border nyingi. The borders will continue to observe the curfew hours of 1900 hours, that is 7 o'clock to 5:30 hours. Shaha emwe y'ekiro to shaha 11 z'ekiro. You know the Europeans, they call night, they call it morning. And we also call it morning. You can imagine. The sawa mukaga w'ekiro abazungu bagamba nti kumacha naffe netugendera awo nti kumacha. But the curfew is kutoka saa 1 ya usiku mpaka saa 11:30 ya usiku, because that's night. It is a night until morning. Some of these measures will be reversed. Some of these measures may be reversed. If COVID-19 high dependence and intensive care units bed occupancy exceeds 50%, and if the daily rate of the hospitalization for severely and critically ill patients is sustained at 30 per day for 5 days in 2 or more COVID treatment units. This is the advice from my scientists, that if we see that what they call the ICU, intensive care beds, units, beds, if we see they are occupied, and the high dependency, which is another, not as severe but serious, if we find that patients are feeling 50%, then we may have to do something about some of the measures, especially the transport ones and so on. And our friends, the bar people, and other groups. The intensive care unit, ICU beds in government hospitals are 187. And the HDU, high dependency units, beds are 475. The total coronavirus beds are 3,100. Recently, they have been empty because we have not been having cases. The Ministries of Education and Sports, Health and Transport and Works will give detailed plans for their opening of their. We have found some solutions of how to deal with this virus. The following are the solutions in addition to some of the preventive measures we have been taking. Number one, vaccinating the 22 million Ugandans above the age of 18 years of age, starting with the 4.8 million most vulnerable persons. Within those 4.8 million, you have got 3.3 million above the age of 50 years. You have got 550,000 teachers. You have got 150,000 health workers. You have got 250,000 security personnel and 500,000 people below the age of 50 but with comorbidities, e.g. diabetes, blood pressure, etc. Up to today, total doses administered are 11.4 million. And out of this, with these 11.4 million doses, 3.8 million people have been vaccinated fully, either with 2 doses of the various of the various vaccine types, or the one vaccine of the Johnson & Johnson. Of the 22 million people, 45%, i.e. almost 10 million of the target population, have received at least 1 shot of the vaccine, and 17% have been fully vaccinated. The language these days is shot, jabs, but what they mean is empiso, jab, shot. They mean echikatu banange, empiso. That's what they mean, jab, shot. As of today, we have received a total of 20.7 million vaccine types that need 2 doses to cover 1 person, and 12 millions of the single dose Johnson & Johnson. So you can see that we are not badly off, because with the 20 million, where you need 2 doses, 20 million, 21 million more or less, you can cover 10 million people.